What up? We're back at it. This is a spiritual gumbo as a matter of class. And I was just going to call it a matter of class, but it's actually as a matter of it. Because in about 3 or 4 chapters, when we get to some of the more, you can't call them common sense laws, but they're laws that are really based on class. You know what I'm saying? It's how you're supposed to conduct yourself. One moment. So what's going to happen is, like, this first part we're about to read about in chapter 15, right? Or is it 16? Chapter 16, excuse me. So we're going to go from 16 on. And what we're going to do is we're just going to pick up. But we got to remember the last part we just read about. So there are several things going on, right? It's the law of separation and the law of cleanliness. And without getting too carried away, the very last thing we read about is the law of separation for a woman and how to treat that, first off, how she's supposed to conduct herself, and then how the overall group is supposed to view anybody who has intimate relations with the woman. Now, what we're about to read about also, no, that's right, chapter 15. It's got to be chapter 15. So give me a second. I lie. I'm tripping. I got a whole chapter ahead on y'all. We got to go back. Laws of separation, cleanliness. We're going to be reading about a matter of class for that. What we just read about was the houses, the last part that we actually left off on, and the running water, and the pigeons, and the hyssop, and the spun scarlet, and how you have to kill one, put the blood. There has to be running water. The blood is going down, and you put the bird under it, and the hyssop obviously is on the bird, and you 7 times, right? And that's going to purify it. And we're not going to go into how mold is a leprosy, or how those the people with the skin joints, you know what I'm saying, where they look like they have white people's skin, how that's considered a leprosy, right? And how it's treated, but just the overall process. Everything is going to go together. Now, this next part we're about to be reading about is a matter of class. Here we go. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel, and thou shalt say to them, whatever man shall have an issue out of his body, his issue is unclean. And this is the law of his uncleanness." Now, stop right there. It always says a man because head of the household, whatever. But you can apply these same ideas, especially if it's something that a woman can do. You can apply that same thing to a woman. But they're just saying that for the people who should be making the decisions are going to normally be the men, especially at this point in history, this point in time. So just be mindful of that. You know what I'm saying? You can apply a woman to that same thought. Don't just, that only applies to guys. It's not how it works. All right, here we go. And this is the law of his uncleanness. Whoever has a gonorrhea out of his body, this is his uncleanness in him by reason of the issue, by which his body is affected through the issue. All the days of his body, all the days of the issue of his body, by which his body is affected through the issue, there is his uncleanness. So it's explaining to us right now, it just says a gonorrhea, right? But it's like any kind of discharge coming out of a person's body, right? But you'll understand more so, and 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 more of it when you just think about people who sleep with animals. And why would you have to tell the people to not sleep with animals? It's just little things like that. We're not going to get carried away, but we're going to apply some of our own known human sense to the situation. Verse 4, every bed on which he that has the issue shall happen to lie is unclean. And every seat or vessel or article of furniture, that's assembled by that word, on which he that has the issue may happen to sit shall be unclean. And the man who shall touch his bed shall wash his garments and bathe himself in water, and shall be unclean till evening. And whosoever sits on the seat or article of vessel or furniture, on which he that has the issue may have sat, shall wash his garments and bathe himself in water, and shall be unclean until evening. And he that touches the skin of him that has the issue shall wash his garments and bathe himself in water, and shall be unclean till evening. And he that has the issue should, and if he that has the issue should spit upon one that is clean, that person shall wash his garments and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until evening. And every ass's saddle on which the man which has the issue have mounted shall be unclean till evening. And every one that touches whatsoever shall have been under him shall be unclean until evening. And he that takes them up shall wash his garments and bathe himself in water, and shall be unclean until evening. And whomsoever he that has the issue shall touch, if he have not rinsed his hands in water, he shall wash his garments and bathe his body in water, and shall be unclean until evening. And the earthen vessel, which he that has the issue shall happen to be, and the earthen vessel, which he that has the issue shall be broken. Shall touch it, shall happen to touch, shall be broken. So we're going to stop right here, because it's about to be very repetitious. Everything you're going to be hearing is common sense, but apparently people don't know. So, like, you got to recognize it's common sense because we've been taught these things for so long. All right. You have groups of people who are coming out of a land where the land was fully furnished. There was a way of life in the land. They were a subservient people in the land, and they were used to being second-class citizens, even though that was their major gripe. Having said that, they're being taught all these things so that way they don't take second-class citizenry type of mentality into a land where they're about to become first-class citizens. You understand? So once again, these are as a matter of class, right? It's just saying that whatever issue that this person has, I'm going to say man or woman, okay, they need to be separated, right? They're unclean, but what if this is a person that you have to deal with, right? Okay, so it's saying for however long they have this issue, everything that they touch is unclean, but this is why you should be clean all in your own. This is why it teaches good hygiene in the scripture. So that way, whether you know somebody has this going on or not, it doesn't matter because you maintain yourself. Go ahead and keep it pushing. And note, the earthen or the clay vessel is always going to get broken in any instance where something unclean touches it. Verse 12. And the earthen vessel, which he that has the issue shall happen to touch, shall be broken. And a wooden vessel shall be washed with water and shall be clean. Now you see, there's no wait period for that. It's just clean. And if he that has the issue should be cleansed of his issue, then shall he number to himself 7 days for his purification. And he shall wash his garments and bathe his body in water, and shall be clean. And on the 8th day, he shall take himself 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, and he shall bring them before the door. And he shall bring them before the Lord to the doors of the tabernacle of witness. And shall give them to the priest. And the priest shall offer them, one for a sin offering, so it's burnt all the way up, and the other for a whole burnt offering. right? And that's the one that they get a little piece of. And, you know, the priest gets their portion, they get a little piece. Where we at? And the priest shall offer them for a sin offering, and the other for a whole burnt offering. And the priest shall make atonement for him before the and the priest shall make atonement for him before the Lord for his issue. Okay. Now, before we get to reading this into this next part, it's vital that you use your adult maturity when you hear what you're about to be hearing. Um, um, and we're gonna break into this, but I want to read this because it's a matter of class. Okay, so it's just saying, like, you don't. This is why people who are considered unclassy are unclassy, because they don't practice hygiene. You know what I'm saying? They don't clean themselves. I don't care how clean your clothes look. If you didn't shower your body and clean yourself, you're not clean. No matter what you say. Brand new clothes and all. That's not clean. That's dirty. That's filth. That's clean on top of filth. And you made it dirty just because you're dirty. You know what I'm saying? And people don't always think about these type of little things. They just move about in their life. And I know, like I said, I like to believe I'm dealing with, a cast of people who for better, not for worse, but for whatever reason, I like to believe that the people I deal with do wash their hands when they use the restroom, and they just wash their hands regularly just because they can. If they touch something dirty, they just feel like it's the right thing to do. They don't have to be told to cover their mouth when they cough or even when they yawn. They don't have to be told to cover their face when they sneeze. It's just basic stuff, or remove themselves from the situation. You know, they don't have to be told to say excuse me if they burp or if they pass gas. It's like basic stuff that you're taught as a child that you may not believe is crucial and critical to the survival of a nation. But look at the current state of affairs right now in America, because there's a bunch of sleuths who are uncouth and have really very little home training. If you were to actually look at the totality of it, of all the masses of individuals or groups or whatever you want to say, families and peoples, okay? But collectively, this country is a very dirty, nasty place, even though people want to be here. And then when they get here, they realize how filthy it is. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to keep reading. What we're about to hear is all adult. Please be mature. Verse 16. And the man whose seed of copulation shall happen to go forth from him shall then wash his whole body and shall be unclean to evening. Now, I'm not going to be vulgar, but I would assume that it's talking about, I don't know how the seed of a man's copulation is just going to go, just happen to do that. There's obviously some kind of activity that person's engaged in by themselves to make that happen. We're not going to get vulgar. We're just going to address it for what it is and use your adult mind. You know what I'm talking about. Because listen to this. And every garment, verse 17, and every garment and every skin on which there shall be the seed of copulation shall both be washed with water and be unclean till evening. So it's covering whatever you happen to get your inner body fluids on, okay? You need to wash that. Come on. Listen to this, though. Verse 18. And a woman, if a man shall lie with her with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water and shall be unclean till evening. So listen, this is just talking about people who are fornicating or just fooling around. Two grown married people, right on, not trying to get pregnant. We're just gonna say what it is, okay? Right? And the Most High God is like, right, you got to clean yourself up after that. This is a matter of class, okay? So be an adult when you hear it, And this is why I've always told the people, I'm really not for the babies. I would rather a person listen to what I have to say and then relate it the best to their children, the best the way that they feel, not anything that I have to say. Not that I'm saying anything wrong, but it's just, there's a way that people would like to relay that to their families. And they choose when those individuals, be it a little boy or a little girl, you know what I'm saying, a young male or young female, they choose that. Verse 19. Now it's about to start talking about something a little more serious. And the woman, whosoever shall have an issue of blood, when her issue shall be in her body, shall be 7 days in her separation. Everyone that touches her shall be unclean until evening. And everything whereon she shall lie in her separation shall be unclean. And whatever she shall sit upon shall be unclean. And whosoever shall touch her bed, wash his garments, and bathe his body in water, and shall be unclean until evening. And everyone that touches any vessel on which she shall sit shall wash his garments and bathe himself in water, and shall be unclean until evening. And whether it be while she is on her bed or on a seat, which she may happen to sit upon, when he touches her, he shall be unclean till evening. And if anyone shall lie with her, and her uncleanness be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days. And on every bed which he shall have lain shall be unclean. And if a woman have an issue of blood many days, not in the time of her separation, and if the blood should also flow after her separation, all the days of the issue of her uncleanness shall be as the days of her separation. She shall be unclean. And every bed on which she shall be, and on every bed which she shall lie all the days of her flux shall be to her as the bed of her separation. And every seat whereon she shall sit be unclean according to the uncleanness of her separation. And everyone that touches it shall be unclean. And he shall wash his garments and bathe his body in water, and shall be unclean till evening. But if she be cleansed from her flux, then she shall number to herself 7 days, and afterwards she shall be esteemed clean, or purged clean. And on the 8th day she shall take 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, and shall bring them to the priest to the door of the tabernacle of witness. And the priest shall offer one for a sin offering, and the other for a whole burnt offering. And the priest shall make atonement for her before the Lord from her unclean flux. Verse 31. And ye shall cause the children of Israel to beware of their uncleanness, so they shall not die for their uncleanness, in polluting my tabernacle that is among them. This is the law of the man who has an issue, and if one discharge seed of copulation, so that he should be polluted by it. And this is the law for her that has the issue of blood in her separation. And as to the person who has an issue of seed in his issue, it is a law for the male and the female, and for the man who shall have lain with her, that is set apart. So what we're hearing right now, what you just heard, is, first off, it has to cover the disease. It doesn't even talk about the seed of copulation. It's like, but obviously something happened for you to get gonorrhea. It doesn't go into the instances, right? Follow me. We're going to read laws later, maybe not today, but maybe today, or I know for a fact we've read a couple already back in the Exodus, about people not lying with animals, So we need to keep these things in mind, that this is all a conjunction. You don't just learn the one thing and then abandon the rest of it. No, you add all these things together. So when you're listening to the laws, you just have to apply what you've seen people do in your own life and apply good sense. I mean, this is what I'm doing. If you ever wanted to know how I understand it to a certain degree, this is what I'm doing is I said, okay, what could cause a person to get gonorrhea? Sleeping with a nasty woman who, well, how did she get it? She slept with a man, right? Or she was doing something she wasn't supposed to do with one of these animals. See what I'm saying? Just like this man could have been doing. And this is where all of it now you have to decide and decipher what you really think would take place. It's more likely a dirty, dingy, sorry person will go out there and lay with an animal, even though they're supposed to both die, right? See, this is why this whole what you don't get caught doing, right? It still manifests itself in some way, shape, or form. And this is why I speak into that. And then it speaks to, you know, every that person's unclean. For as long as they have this issue, they're unclean. Now, only they know when they've gotten cured, right? Only they would know. But they still have to, they're supposed to follow this. You see what I'm saying? And by righteousness' sake, you would righteously separate yourself to show that you're unclean. Right on? Now, this isn't called a leprosy, right? But the idea of what it is just as serious. Now, what we're hearing is you clearly hear two different things about people who do whatever. It talks about what we all know, probably somebody touching on themselves, and then a man and a woman, and then it skips right to if a woman is going through her cycle, and it speaks to how for that period of time she's unclean. And then it speaks to how also if this continues and it's an issue, and a man to lay with her even before while she's going through this 7-day separation, he's unclean while this happens. But let's say that it continues, right? Now she's unclean. She's supposed to be separated because she has a what's called a flux, right? It's a discharge of blood. However, and it says that a man, if he's with this woman, he's unclean as well. So we have to keep it into our minds that this is not just a matter of some little thing. Like it speaks to it to a fine degree, but it doesn't get carried away. You as a person, you have lived. The scripture is here once again as mandate to show us and to inform us as to what to do and what not to do. And then note that once again, when you get right, you're supposed to bring your sin offering and then the peace offering or the whole burnt offering. And only in certain instances is there a transgression offering when a person transgresses. And I've already contended what I believe the transgression is. There is no, you have to go and offer something up for the seed of copulation coming out of you. But for a woman who has a flux, and it's not talking about what her normal natural cycle, right? It's talking about an issue outside of that. She's supposed to be separated. Okay, so we have to keep that in mind that that's not the same thing as her normal cycle, and so therefore, because it's not normal, okay, she's supposed to offer sacrifice, one sin offering, also a peace offering, you know. And I can't stress that. It says that, you know, this is so that way that they first off that they don't die by the reasoning of polluting the tabernacle, because you got all kinds of nasty people. You see what I'm saying? It's a matter of class. We must really see it like that, you know, and then dignify it as much. Because if the people only believe that reading the scripture, reading 2 verses is going to give them understanding of the story that they're reading, see, that's the major fallacy that most people have. All right, is that they believe that they read a couple verses and they think they got the whole Bible on lock. And that's unfortunate for them. Fortunately for us, I'm going to take the time to continue to read. We're going to keep reading, but little do they know, we've only got there's only about 11 more chapters to go, 10 more chapters to go in the book of the Leviticus, and then we're done with this. And then it's on to the book of the Numbers. We will get all five of we will get the Torah, the first 5 books, the Pentateuch. We will get that covered in this year. I promise you, unless something, unforeseen happens, God forbid, but that's where we're at, y'all. And we're going to keep on reading. Now we're in chapter 16 officially now, right? And we're just going to read this and appreciate what happened to the sons of Aaron for a moment, because I can't contend that they were heavily inebriated, but there's a belief that they would have been under the influence for the Most High to bring it to the attention of Moses to tell everybody, like, yo, the priests don't come in here juiced up. After they come in here, there's no more drinking, right? So if he's pre-juiced, that's whatever. But the whole time he's up in here, don't do that, because my belief is that while they were under the influence, their better judgment didn't serve them, and therefore they did something that they weren't supposed to do. That's just my personal opinion. All right. And I can't tell you what kind of incense they offered. I just know that it wasn't I don't think it was the compound they were supposed to offer, based on the instructions. Having said that, this is verse 1, chapter 16. And the Lord spoke to Moses after the 2 sons of Aaron died, in bringing strange fire before the Lord. So they died. And the Lord said to Moses, speak to Aaron, thy brother, and let him not come in at all times unto the holy place within the veil before the propitiatory, which is upon the ark of the testimony, and he shall die not. For I will appear in a cloud on the propitiatory. Thus shall Aaron enter into the holy place with the calf of the herd for a sin offering, and having a ram for a whole burnt offering. He shall put on the consecrated linen tunic, and shall have on his flesh the linen drawers, and shall gird himself with the linen girdle, and shall put on the linen cap. They are holy garments. And he shall bathe all his body in water, and shall put them on. And he shall take of the congregation of the children of Israel 2 kids of the goats, a sin offering, and 1 lamb for a whole burnt offering. And Aaron shall bring the atonement, and Aaron shall bring the calf for his own sin offering, and shall make atonement for himself and for his house. And he shall take the 2 goats and place them before the Lord by the door of the tabernacle of witness. And Aaron shall cast lots upon the 2 goats. Stop right here. This is deep. We're about to read something now. Now, we're still reading in a matter of class. We're about to read where the scapegoat term actually comes from, and then understand the burden that this animal actually is having placed upon it, because what the Most High God is requiring for it to have to bear. And we'll keep, and I'll break down some other stuff here in a moment, but this is important. And Aaron shall bring the calf for his sin offering, and shall make atonement for himself and for his house. Verse 7, and he shall take the 2 goats and place them before the Lord by the door of the tabernacle of witness. And Aaron shall cast lots upon the 2 goats, 1 lot for the Lord, and the other for the scapegoat. And Aaron shall bring forth the goat on which the lot for the Lord fell, and shall offer him for a sin offering. And the goat, which is the lot of the scapegoat, and the goat upon which the lot of the scapegoat came, he shall present him alive before the Lord to make atonement upon him, so as to send him away as a scapegoat for dismissal, and shall send him into the wilderness. Now listen to this right here. And he shall bring the calf for the sin, and he shall bring the calf for his sin, and shall make atonement for his house. And he shall kill the calf for the sin offering. And he shall take the censer full of coals of fire off the altar, which is before the Lord. And he shall fill in his hand with the fine compound incense, and shall bring it within the veil. And he shall put the incense on the fire before the Lord. And the smoke of the incense shall cover the mercy seat over the tables of the testimony, or the testimonies. And he shall not die. And he shall take the blood of the calf and sprinkle with his finger on the mercy seat eastward. Before the mercy seat shall he sprinkle 7 times the blood with his finger. And he shall kill the goat for the sin offering, that is for the people, before the Lord. And he shall bring in of its blood within the veil. And he shall do with its blood as he did with the blood of the calf, and shall sprinkle its blood on the mercy seat in front of the mercy seat. And he shall make atonement for the sanctuary on account of the uncleanness of the children of Israel, and their trespass in the matter of all their sins. Thus shall he do to the tabernacle of witness established among them in the midst of their uncleanness. And there shall be no man in the tabernacle of witness when he goes in to make atonement in the holy place, until he shall have come out. And he shall make atonement for himself and for his house and for all the congregation of the children of Israel. And he shall come forth to the altar that is before the Lord, and he shall make atonement upon it. And he shall take of the blood of the calf and the blood of the goat, and he shall put it on the horns of the altar round about. And he shall sprinkle some of the blood upon it 7 times with his finger, and shall purge it, and hollow it from the uncleanness of the children of Israel. And he shall finish making atonement for the sanctuary, and for the tabernacle of witness, and for the Lord. And he shall make a cleansing for the priest, and he shall bring the living goat. And Aaron shall lay his hands on the head of the live goat, and he shall declare over him, listen to this, all the iniquities of the children of Israel, and all their unrighteousness and all their sins. And he shall lay them upon the head of the live goat, and shall send him by the hand of a ready man into the wilderness. And the goat shall bear their unrighteousness upon him into a desert land. And Aaron shall send away the goat into the wilderness. And Aaron shall enter into the tabernacle of witness, and shall put off the linen garment which he had put on as he entered into the holy place, and he shall lay it by there. And he shall bathe his body in the water in the holy place, and shall put on his raiment, and shall go out and offer the whole burnt offering for himself, and the whole burnt offering for the people, and shall make atonement for himself, and for his house, and for the people, as for the priest. And he shall offer the fat of the sin offering on the altar, and he that sends forth the goat that has been set apart to be let go shall wash his garments and bathe his body in water, and afterwards shall enter into the camp. And the calf for the sin offering and the goat for the sin offering, whose blood was brought in to make atonement in the holy place, they shall carry forth out of the camp, and burn them with fire, even their skins and their flesh and their dung. And he that burns them shall wash his garments and bathe himself in water, and afterwards he shall enter into the camp. And this is a perpetual statute for you. In the 7th month, listen, in the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, ye shall humble your souls, and shall do no work, the native and the stranger who abides among you, or attaches himself to you, has in the New Testament has frequently a Hebraic, Hebraistic signification. So I'm just gonna break off real quick and just get into that real fast. The stranger and the sojourner, right? Or the native and the stranger. Because obviously there's people who are native to the land who are going to be like, we want to be with you guys, man. You guys got it going on, right? And then there's just going to be people who are strange to the land and they're going to be strange among you. And then also talking about when people blood mix, okay? Because now you're not exactly, when you once again, if you mix out so much, even if you look alike, these people speak a different language. They just have a different set of core beliefs and core values that might not align to actually following the Most High God, which is why there's punishments written within the ordinances for people who don't want to follow these ordinances. It's not like they actually were forced to. When they left Egypt, they were forced out because of the happening of events, but they wanted to leave. But it's not like they actually got forced up out of Egypt, though. When you actually think about it, you know. So, because they wanted to leave. So there's a level to that. But then you have people who obviously are half steppers. Once again, if this dude is or this chick is more Egyptian than they are Semitic, just in general, then they're more Hamitic than they are Semitic. That changes how they view life. And then if this person is an Egyptian who's not even a real Egyptian, just saying they are, right? We won't get carried away with origins unknown. Then you have even a greater issue. So now, when you talk about why this is such an important thing, the Most High God is like, look, what was just talked about is I can't be sure, but I'm almost positive when this was done. It was done in the 7th month on the 10th day, and that day happened to be a Sabbath day, right? And follow this right here. This is it's called the Sabbath. Just or week of weeks, as it's down there by the symbol. But just follow this. Aaron didn't even have on his regular when he's doing the sacrifice, right? He puts on the regular garments of somebody who works as a worker in the tabernacle. Number one. Still holy garments, but just not his priest garments. So now he's just like he's a regular person. Okay. Now what you have to recognize is that the reason why it's telling folks to wash themselves, right? It's because you was just burning something. So you don't want to be smelling like smoke and all this other stuff. It as much as people don't think about it, right? They really don't think about it, right? Know that it separates the skin from the flesh, from the dung, right? And also how the fat's supposed to be sacrificed to the Most High God, right? See, once again, it won't let us forget it. What he has to do right now, and it's going to be a statute that they do every year, right? Going forth after this, right? Or they're supposed to, I should say. We have to appreciate how this plays out for the people going forth, because these are Sabbaths that they don't keep. These are ordinances that they break and go against. So when you're asking yourself, well, Demetrius, why do you stress this so much? It's because this is how we got here. You see what I'm saying? It's the lack of it. We can't follow these rules because we're not in a place where we can actually do this in its fullness. So the best we could do, right, is try to abide by what is applicable to our everyday lives, because no one here actually has a tabernacle of witness to go to, so to speak. A church is not the tabernacle. A synagogue, the temples, all that stuff, right? All those places that they go to for worship are not. They're not. They're unclean. They're unclean, and they're defiled, and they're unholy. And having said that, I just can't stress enough how this statute, okay, is supposed to be kept. But that's just like the Passover and stuff, right? Like the Most High God creates reasons for you to be able to consume and eat meat, right on. And I'm not saying that he makes you sin per se, right? But he knows you're gonna sin. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna make a day where he has to once a year, we're gonna put all your sins and all your iniquities on a scapegoat. Now I need y'all to understand that's vicious. That is a big thing, because this is a big part of the people being able to actually be forgiven and to make proper atonement. The Most High God was always and is still to a degree rooting for his people to do the right thing, which is the first is to fear him and only fear him. Secondly, is to trust in him. Okay? These people, not only did they not fear him, but they didn't trust him. All right? And they used to tempt him all the time. As opposed to testing a spirit, they tempted his spirit. So they put him in a situation where he's like, I have to punish you because how you've conducted yourself is the antithesis of what I asked you to do. Totally contradicting. Opposite. You know what I'm saying? Diametrically opposed, whatever you want to say. It is the exact opposite of what I asked you to do. I asked you to go right, y'all went left. So, and that's how we have to see it. If we don't have enough honesty, to make that what it is, then we're never going to actually get anywhere, because the conversations that people want to have are not ones that I'm not going to say that I'm unwilling to have. It's just that they don't know anything. They haven't read. They just haven't read enough, y'all. And they, let me just keep reading. Verse 29. We're going to pick it up. And this shall be a perpetual statute for you. In the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, ye shall humble your souls, and shall do no work, the native and the stranger who abides among you. For in this day he shall make an atonement for you, to cleanse you from all your sins before the Lord, and ye shall be purged. This shall be to you a most holy Sabbath, a rest, and ye shall humble your souls. It is a perpetual ordinance. The priest whomsoever that shall anoint them, the priest whomsoever they shall anoint shall make atonement, behind me, devil, and whomsoever they shall consecrate to exercise the priestly office after his father. So they're saying that whoever gets chosen to pretty much be the head priest is going to be the person who's doing this after Aaron and after, his sons, and I want to say Eleazar, and I can't think of the other one's name right now, but there's only 2 living sons. Nadab and Abihu didn't make it. They got burnt up. Here we go. The priest whomsoever they shall anoint shall make atonement, and whomsoever they shall consecrate to exercise the priestly office after his father. And by the word consecrate, it says, whomsoever hands they shall accomplish, or fill hands. And he shall put on the linen robe, the holy garment, and he shall make atonement for the most holy place, and the tabernacle of witness. And he shall make atonement for the altar, and for the priest. And he shall make atonement for all the congregation. And this shall be to you a perpetual statute, to make atonement for the children of Israel, for all their sins. It shall be done once in the year, as the Lord commanded Moses. So what you're seeing right there, or what you're hearing, is this is its own holy ordinance. It's not the Passover, and it's not in the other feast. Okay, I just can't bear in mind right now. And it's not, and obviously this isn't sacrifice that a person would make on their own throughout the year in that time. But you're clearly not, the idea is that you're not supposed to be sinning, so you don't have to do unnecessary sacrifice, right? So what it'll boil down to is, how do I put it? You would only do the sacrifices that you have to do because they're mandate, you know. And whenever something would happen, you know, because people make mistakes, that would be how you have to handle the situation. So here we are, chapter 17, and we're actually moving. Shoot, we're moving pretty smooth. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to Aaron and to his sons and to all the children of Israel, and thou shalt say to them, This is the word which the Lord has commanded, saying, Every man of the children of Israel, or of the strangers abiding among you, who shall kill a calf, or a sheep, or a goat in the camp, or who shall kill it out of the camp, and shall not bring it to the door of the tabernacle of witness, so as to sacrifice it for a whole burnt offering or peace offering to the Lord, to be acceptable for a sweet smelling savor, and whosoever shall slay it without and shall not bring it to the door of the tabernacle of witness, so as to offer it as a gift to the Lord before the tabernacle of the Lord, blood shall be imputed to that man. He has shed blood. That soul shall be cut off from his people." Stop right there. That's a big deal, because it's trying to tell you that if you go out here and you kill an animal, right? First off, the blood of these animals is meant to make atonement. It's been specifically said their blood is used to make atonement, right? So I don't want to say that they're out there sacrificing to another god, but that's the first implication, is that you're sacrificing to a strange god, right? You see what I'm saying? And that you're up to no good. You've gone a whoring, as the scripture says, and because of that, people don't realize, you know, who knows how the Most High God would allow that to play out for us or upon us, as far as the punishment and the consequences are concerned, because there has to be some sort of retaliatory measure. Well, he tells us that there is, but obviously there has to be if you get outside of what is righteous and what you're supposed to do. Let's just go ahead and keep going. Blood shall be imputed to that man. He has shed blood. That soul shall be cut off from his people, that the children of Israel may offer sacrifices, and all that they shall slay in the field, and bring them to the Lord unto the doors of the tabernacle of witness to the priest, and they shall sacrifice them as a peace offering to the Lord. So it's pretty much just saying, look, whenever you do that, once again, it's like that person has blood on their hands. So the only thing you can do is bring that to the actual tabernacle. And it's saying if you don't, you got to cut that person off because they killed something. They took a life. Right. So, I mean, so that should tell people how much value, obviously, the animal should actually have in your eyes. It shouldn't just be, oh, that's just nothing. That's a living thing, bro. It's alive. Or sis, whoever, you know what I'm saying? Like people have to understand, like, that's how it is, y'all. Now, let's just keep it pushing because this is a very short chapter. And the priest shall pour the blood on the altar round about of the tabernacle of witness, and shall offer the fat for a sweet smelling savor to the Lord. And they shall no longer offer their sacrifices to vain gods, after which they go a whoring. It shall be a perpetual statute to you for your generations. And thou shalt say to them, whatever man of the children of Israel, or the son of the proselytes, abiding among you, shall offer a whole burnt offering or a sacrifice, and shall not bring it to the door of the tabernacle of witness to sacrifice it to the Lord, that man shall be destroyed from among his people. And whatever man of the children of Israel or of the strangers abiding among you shall eat any blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eats blood, and I will destroy it from its people. For the life of flesh is its blood, and I have given it to you on the altar to make atonement for your souls. For its blood shall make atonement for the soul. Therefore, I said to the children of Israel, no soul of you shall eat blood, and the stranger that abides among you shall not eat blood. And whatever man of the children of Israel or of the strangers abiding among you shall take any animals in hunting, beast or bird, which is eaten, then he shall pour out the blood and cover it in the dust. For the blood of all life, for the blood of all flesh is its life. And I said to the children of Israel, ye shall not eat the blood of any flesh, for the life of all flesh is its blood. Everyone that eats it shall be destroyed. And every soul which eats that which has died of itself, or is taken of beast, either among the natives or among the strangers, shall wash his garments and bathe himself in water, and shall be unclean until evening. Then shall he be clean. But if he does not wash his garments and do not bathe his body in water, then he shall bear his iniquity. Stop right there. Biggest deal about that last part was when I first read that, I was like, is he telling us to get rid of the evidence? You know? And for example, just hear it. And whatever man of the children of Israel or of the strangers abiding among you shall take any animals in hunting, beast or bird, which is eaten, then he shall pour out the blood and cover it in the dust. Stop right there. So it's like, they're like, if you kill it, you don't have to let the blood drain all over you. But here's the thing, because you was hunting, you still need to go and bring that to the tabernacle. You still have to offer a sacrifice to the Lord. It doesn't matter, you know. And sometimes you just have to just realize that it's life. You know what I'm talking about? You know, it's like part of doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Integrity. That's the word I was looking for. Doing what you're supposed to do, even when you don't have to. That's real integrity. Okay, right on. It's not just doing the right thing when no one's looking, which is an excellent version of integrity. But it's just doing, you know what I'm saying, what you're supposed to do when you don't have to. I'm saying that's really integrity. Because you don't have to do what you're supposed to do. You really don't, but you do it. So there's a level of integrity there, you know, that people might not even give to themselves. But that's okay, because I'm going to give that to you. I'm lending you that level of integrity. You know, I credit you with that much. I do believe in my mind that it's not just me who would say something like that to you. Because as we just ended out that chapter, all it's pretty much saying is like, look, anything you get, you have to sacrifice. You don't get to kill animals. You don't get to take life, okay, and then act like it's no big deal. And note how it says if you eat an animal that's died of itself or that's been taken of a wild beast, how you're supposed to clean yourself, right? Right? And then that person, you'll be unclean until evening, and then you'll be clean. But it's like, if you don't wash yourself right, then you'll bear your iniquity, right? Well, here's my thing. If you ate an animal that that died of itself, and I don't know if you cooked it or see, this is the thing. If you the Most High God is like, yo, get rid of all the evidence. That's what I mean. I don't know how else I can say it. Right on? That's my real interpretation. No, maybe not all the evidence. Get rid of your uncleanness. There we go. But still get rid of the evidence. You know what I'm saying? That's a better way of saying it. You know, because no, that's the best way to say it, because that's the only truthful way. Because otherwise, I'm telling you a lie. You know what I'm saying? I would be lying to you if I told you that he's not telling you to get rid of all the proof that what you done took place. Otherwise, you got, I don't know, whatever kind of animal stuff in your mouth, because I'm assuming people brush their teeth back. Nothing we're doing now is new. So when you wash yourself and you do all these things and you clean yourself, right? The proof that it's going to be hard to say what you done. I'm not saying that he's saying for you to be dishonest, but he's saying like, look, don't make it so obvious that you done something you weren't supposed to do. Come on. That I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm just saying. And people be like, that's dirty. I'm like, that's not dirty. That's real life. You know what I'm saying? Unless you want the issue. Right. I'm not telling you to go out there and eat blood. I didn't tell you to do that. Right on? I didn't tell you to do anything you weren't supposed to do. But I said that if a person happened to eat an animal that died of itself, right? Natural causes or was killed by another animal, I'm saying that he's saying that, yo, you don't go back into the camp looking like you just done what I'm explaining to you. Otherwise, you're going to look stupid. Get rid of all that evidence of all that. Get rid of any kind of clue, any kind of sign that happened. And note that you're not clean until evening. So I'm not saying that you should stay away until the evening, but it would behoove you to not just go back into the camp. That's just what it is. I mean, that's my personal opinion. Once again, you know, people want this to be holier than thou or sound holier than thou all the time. You don't get that when you read the scripture, because these are instructions. Okay. Does it sound holier than thou to stone somebody to death? And that's an honest question, because that's a consequence if you do certain stuff. Right. If you do certain things, you get set on fire. So I don't understand. In a few chapters, there's going to be a dude who makes the most ultimate mistake. But we may or may not get there. You know, I may have another 30 or 40 minutes in me. It's a lot of reading. And I get sad when people don't understand, like, yo, the Most High God he's not soft. You know what I'm saying? By no means. You know, when you eat something unclean, right? And there's going to be other ordinances that go even, once again, that specify exactly what you're supposed to do even more. But so far, what they've been told is that you're going to be unclean until evening, and you got to wash all that. Got to clean yourself. Now, what I don't go into is people having allergies, right? You don't read about allergens in the Bible, because the idea is that these people can eat whatever. Clearly, they're eating anything and everything. So they can eat anything. So the idea of allergens, the reason why I find that a very peculiar thing, is that it's not discussed. Think about that for a moment. See, people don't know how deep all of this actually really is, because it's speaking to the level of genetic constitution and hardiness that people actually would have had to even have lived in that kind of environment. Now, before we get into chapter 18, right? I mean, these chapters are just getting shorter. I think I'm gonna get to chapter 19 and then I'm gonna stop. Yeah. Stop at 19. Quick 4-piece. This is the most crucial part of the matter of class. Okay? Chapter 18. I'm saying? So as a matter of class, right? We don't make it obvious, right? That we've made a mistake. That's just the classy thing to do. What you're about to read, right? What we're about to read, listen, what we're about to read right now is bigger than just a matter of class. It's understand what I'm about to read to you are charges, allegations, and implications against not only the Egyptians, but the entire land of Canaan or Phoenicia and all the Canaanites or the Phoenician people. Follow me. About to really make y'all think for a second. Because this is a matter of class. Listen to this. I can't stress it enough. You cannot, when you do something and you do something wrong, if you want to be forgiven, then obviously you should do what is being asked of you for atonement. But there's other times when you do certain things where you will allow people to develop a false perception about you. Like, for example, I would rather you eat something unclean than starve to death because I would think you were stupid for starving. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, what kind of faith is that? You see what I'm saying? You know, and people are like, well, God would have sent me something else to eat. He'd have sent me something clean. And I'm like, but maybe there was maybe there was something like that, and you just didn't want to eat it. People have a funny way of thinking. So I'm not telling you to go out here and fry up pork chops. What I'm telling you is this right here is that if it were to come down for between you living and you dying, I would rather you eat something unclean. And you don't ever have to tell me, right on. You can keep that to yourself. Right. Once again, get rid of all the evidence, right? They don't like it. They just don't like the way that I talk. They think that there's something wrong with that type of way. Anyway, I'll without jumping too far ahead in the scripture, did y'all know that King David was ordered to kill entire villages, to not let anyone leave, to not let anyone live? If that is not the epitome of not leaving any evidence, I don't know what is. But we're gonna keep it pushing. Verse 1 of chapter 18. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel, and thou shalt say to them, I am the Lord your God. Ye shall not do according to the devices of Egypt in which ye dwelt, and according to the devices of the land of Canaan, into which I bring you. Ye shall not do, and ye shall not walk in their ordinances. Ye shall observe my judgments, and shall keep my ordinances, and shall walk in them. Stop right there. This is the most major implication, all right, that what we're about to read about was taking place in Egypt and in Canaan. And obviously, if you have to tell the people, there's probably people doing this nonsense. Listen, check this out. Verse 4, ye shall observe my judgments, and shall keep my ordinances, and shall walk in them. I am the Lord your God. So ye shall keep all my ordinances and all my judgments and all excuse me, and do them, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord your God. And stop right there. Saying that if you do the laws are life. Verse 6. No man shall draw nigh to any of his near kindred to uncover their nakedness. I am the Lord. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother, for she is thy mother. Listen, the fact that he even has to tell you this, but who's the first person we ever known about uncovering the nakedness of somebody like that? You said it, son of Noah, Ham. What do you really think he did to his father? Why would Noah curse his grandson, y'all? Come on. Verse 7. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father, or the nakedness of thy mother, for she is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's wife. It is thy father's nakedness. Stop right there. The father's wife could be another woman who's not your mother that your father's married to. Okay, then. I.e., what Reuben did to 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 Zelpha, I want to say. Pretty sure. Is it Bala? One of the handmaidens, whoever the handmaiden of of Rachel was, Reuben laid down with her. And that's why Reuben didn't get the firstborn blessing like he should have. Anyway, not even going to carry away with all that. And then Simeon did himself in because he talked his brother into killing up almost a whole village of people, and anyway, made a whole lot of other ones homeless. So right. And then Judah sells Joseph, and then the other guys in the middle, a lot of those dudes are too young, and Jacob's favorite is Joseph. So that's how that happens. Anyway, let me go ahead and keep reading. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's wife. It is thy father's nakedness. The nakedness of thy sister by thy father or by thy mother born at home or abroad. Their nakedness thou shalt not uncover. So it's speaking to the fact that you might have a different father than a young lady. Right on. Once again, it's speaking to the social climate that clearly, even though I'm sure a lot of people frowned upon that back then, clearly there were women who had multiple men father children or sire children with them. It's clearly there. It's right there. So the fact that people want to believe that that this is a brand new concept, right? That women got pregnant by different people just now in the last 50 years, in a certain community. If they really want to believe that, sure. But I'm reading to y'all thousands of years ago it was like that. And it's indicating that if you have a sister from your mother or from your father born at home or born abroad, okay, you're not to be touching on them, uncovering their nakedness. Verse 10, the nakedness of thy son's daughter, which is your grandbaby, or thy daughter's daughter, who's also your grandbaby, their nakedness thou shalt not uncover, because it is thy nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter, of thy father's wife. She is thy sister. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of the daughter of thy father's wife. She is thy sister by the same father. But it just told us earlier, and it's just reiterating, okay, that not only do you not sleep with his wife, but you don't sleep with the daughter of your father's wife, okay, your half sister. But this is what Abraham done. So understand, it's right now, these ordinances are to clean up all of the things that the Most High God found distasteful. Okay. But he chose Abraham. So once again, I've expressed this. I can't express it enough. The reason for all the sequences of events is to set up the climate for a people to actually be able to be a nation to worship the Most High God. Not because it just all happened to happen. No, it's not a coincidence. The Most High God set it up that way. But he chose a man who by all means would be out of conjunction with the ordinances based on that standard right there. But he's long dead. So it doesn't matter. And there's little things like that, right? Because Jacob is long dead, but they don't remember that Reuben slept with Jacob's wife, right? Right. Ham and Noah and all those guys are long dead. They're long past, right? So people don't think about Ham uncovering the nakedness of his father or seeing his father's nakedness, right? Because Noah was naked in his tent. So this is why, if you don't appreciate the story and how the story's put together, you don't understand these things when it's being brought to us, right on. And there's genetic basis, I guess, for some of these issues, right? Because they're leaving one land of people who are Hamitic or Kemetic, and they're going into another land of Kemetic people. And these children are the direct children of the son that is cursed, come on, named Canaan. Say that then. Cursed to be what? Servants unto Sem and to Japheth. Things like this matter. Things like this are very important. Let me just go ahead and keep it pushing. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister. What? Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister, your auntie. No duh. For she is near kin to thy father. Verse 13. That thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister. Who's that again? Your auntie. Right? For she is near kin to thy father. And thou shalt not uncover the nakedness, of thy mother's sister, for she is near akin to thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's brother. Why would it have to tell you that? Because people do stuff like that. Right. So you don't have to call it LGBT, right? If you don't catch these people in the act and they don't get stoned to death, they continue to live that same type of life. But it's having to tell us, okay, that the people of Egypt and Canaan at this time engaged in this type of activity where it was just anything goes. Man. And the Egyptians had the nerve to call the Hebrews abominations because they ate what people consider red meat. The cow, the oxen, cattle. Anyway, thou shalt not uncover the nakedness, verse 14, of thy father's brother, and thou shalt not go into his wife. Right. Does it say uncover her nakedness? No, it says go into his wife. Right. What else does that mean? See what I'm saying? So these are the little things where it's like, if it has to spell it out to you, really, really, you don't know anything. And people are like, oh my goodness, I can't believe he would say this. Oh, man, please. Children, once again, children don't know anything. Adults do. And it's telling this to a bunch of grown people who just left an environment that was like this, and they're going into another environment that was just like that. I need y'all to really grasp the gravity of this. They've already 430 years they were in Egypt. They're used to it. This is why certain generations of people had to die off. Man, I'm trying to break it down. Because they're going to teach their children certain ways. Some of these things are going to live on. Come on. That's how you have sin in the first place. I'm just trying to break it down so that way we're all on the same page. Even if I don't care if people agree. I need them to hear it so that way they can understand where I'm coming from. Now, here we are. We're at verse 15. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law, for she is thy son's wife. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. It is thy brother's nakedness. So your sister-in-law or your daughter-in-law, the nakedness of a woman and her daughter shalt thou not uncover. Listen, so it's saying that you don't sleep with the mother and the daughter. Right. That's a matter of class. As a matter of class. It's just, and people don't want to hear that. They get upset because they don't understand, you know. Because everybody they listen to, they're all chasing after you know what. See what I'm saying? And that's all that right. Come on. And everybody they listen to makes it all about that. And I'm trying to tell y'all right now that wanton mentality, that lustful behavior, that spirit of fornication that is within the people, as it is written within the scripture, folks have a hard time seeing and understanding that some of the things that they've desired to engage in or still readily engage in are actually considered foul, disgusting, and wrong, no matter if they think it's right or not. Now here we go. The nakedness of a woman and her daughter shall thou not uncover. Her son's daughter and her daughter's daughter shalt thou not take to uncover their nakedness. For they are thy kindred. It is impiety. Listen. Listen. Now, I always assumed when I was reading this before, I'm talking about, I've read this, I don't know how many times. I always assume, and I still think in my mind, because before you read that, you read, thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. It is thy brother's nakedness. Now stop right there. Your brother's wife, the woman and her daughter, right on? Word? Because that's your sister, right on? It's your sister-in-law. Word, and that's like your niece. You see what I'm saying? So they're like, you don't do that. And then what it's also saying is that her son's daughter, right on, or her daughter's daughter, right on. You feel me? Because they're still like your nieces and nephews. Word, you don't touch them. You see what I'm saying? Because that's where that bloodline is at. It is impiety. Thou shalt not take a wife in addition to her sister as a rival to uncover her nakedness in opposition while she is yet living. Stop right there. To have to tell somebody, yo, you don't marry two sisters just so that way you can make them rival one another. Like, what? This is what people were engaging in. This was regular life in Egypt and Canaan way back then. And if people can't understand that, right? But once again, what's so different about those days and now? People trying to sleep with mothers and daughters, people trying to sleep with sisters, right? Dudes will sleep with their sister-in-law, their daughters-in-law, whatever. People will sleep with whoever. It's crazy. And the fact that we're reading about this for people to be getting instructions about it. Like, yo, you don't do that. Verse 19. And thou shalt not go into a woman under separation for her uncleanness, to uncover her nakedness. Wow. Has to tell you that. And thou shalt not lie with thy neighbor's wife, to defile thyself with her. So listen. I love how dudes always think that, oh, I did that. You become defiled, bruh. Not just her. You too. See, and this is it's a matter of class. They don't think that they chasing everybody's wife. This is what's going on right now. It's never changed. It's never stopped. It's always been the same, y'all. And once again, they were never in conjunction. So this is how these things can take place, and we end up here. And thou shalt not give of thy seed to serve a ruler, or probably Moloch, it says here. And thou shalt not profane my holy name. I am the Lord. And thou shalt not lie with the man as with the woman. Wow. For it is an abomination. Neither shalt thou lie with any quadruped for copulation, to be polluted with it. Neither shall a woman present herself before any quadruped to have connection with it, for it is an abomination. Do not defile yourselves with any of these things, for in all these things the nations are defiled, with which I drove out before you. And the land is polluted, and I have recompensed their iniquity to them because of it. And the land is aggrieved with them that dwell upon it. Stop, man. These people are sleeping with animals. Listen. The I don't. Once again, just because it says a man with a man, apply that with two chicks. It doesn't change. It doesn't change. You can apply all these things to whatever point of view. Right on? Doesn't matter. And I'm not going to tell anybody what it doesn't say here. Don't worry. The people have to marry somebody, but they're not going to be marrying aunties and uncles and brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers. Right. And I'll leave it at that. Nor their nieces and nephews. Let's just keep pushing. This is what was going down the whole time while they was in Egypt. I didn't see it. Once again, people don't put all these things in their mind, right? Like, yo, while they were suffering in Egypt, like some of the rulers, like, could you imagine like Pharaoh is like sleeping with animals and stuff, yo? Like, come on, man. This dude's in charge of the land. Gay dude, gay ruler dude. Once again, if these are black people, I can't stress this enough. The Egyptians that you're hearing about are black. The Canaanites that you're hearing about right now are black people. They're nigs, okay, that are engaging in this wanton, unscrupulous, unholy, wicked foolery. Right. There goes your black excellence. Man, don't make me go all in on these dudes. It's things like that if people don't consider it, it'll never even be talked about. How could they be so proud to be Egyptians and so proud to be Nuwabians and all that stuff? And it's telling you right here that they had some serious issues. And the land, listen, forget the people. The land is aggrieved. It's a big deal. Let's keep it pushing. And ye shall keep, verse 26, and ye shall keep all my statutes and all my ordinances, and ye shall do none of these abominations, neither the native nor the stranger that joins himself with you. For all these abominations the men of the land did who were before you, and the land was defiled. And lest the land be agreed with you, and you're polluting it, as it was agreed with the nations before you. For whosoever shall do any of these abominations, the souls that do them shall be destroyed from among their people. And ye shall keep mine ordinances, that ye may not do any of the abominable practices which have taken place before your time, and ye shall not be polluted in them, for I am the Lord your God. Stop right there. Now, chapter 19 is next, and I think I'm just going to let it be, right? But as a matter of class, they can be mad. Get rid of the evidence. You make sure that there's no proof of the nonsense that you did. Okay? You clean yourself. Do you hear a correction as to how you're supposed to go about doing whatever? No, there are no abomination offerings. You see what I'm saying? You're just supposed to be dead. Because if you sleep, you have to understand. And these rules will get elaborated again later. All right? Don't worry. But it's people not realizing the gravity of the situation. They want it to just be, what's the word? They want the Bible to just be all hugs. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, the Bible has teeth. The Most High God has teeth. You know what I'm saying? That he can bite with. So it's like the fact that people don't like the fact that I point out some of those teeth. Right. And he says, I will blot out your iniquities and your sins. So I'm telling you, you got right. What is he doing other than getting rid of the evidence? And these people better wake up, man. They better grow up. It's not what they wanted. I know nobody wanted to hear it like that, but I have no better way of saying it. And no offense to anybody, I'm the one reading it out loud, breaking it down how I understand it. So it's like, if they think they can understand it way better, then have at it. But I'm like, I'm looking for that person. I'm looking for those people. I'm waiting. And I spend a lot of time going over the scripture before I read it to people. So I just think it's weird that they're upset because that there's actual what I have to follow rules. You mean I actually have to have some class? What? I can't just worship the Most High God as I am? What about come as you are? First off, the being that said, come as you are, right, was speaking to a people who were a broken nation. They were more than a broken nation. He was, anyway, it was a pathetic situation to be in. If I have to say it from an objective point of view, from a trying to relate point of view, right? Is he did what he could do for all those people. Right. I was taking a shower, and when I was in the shower, I thought about that woman who was like, if I could just touch the hem of his garment, right? And I just think, do they not understand the level of faith, first off, that she had to have had, right? But secondly, this woman is a broken person. It's not like she's in a full-blown flourishing kingdom where the Israelites still, for the most part, make all the rules that are dictate. That's not what it was. So when you really look at it, and even in that instance, when she touched the Messiah, he felt some of his essence leave him, right? And he says, "Who touched me?" Because he felt that energy go. But she so badly wanted to be healed. Now I need you to understand this. There was a woman, okay, who by all accounts, she was called a Grecian, but she was actually a Phoenician woman, you see, right? And she'd have been of the same cast of people who are being spoke on. And people have to understand why the Messiah would have treated someone the way he did when he spoke to her, pretty much when she was like, when he was like, we don't cast bread to the dogs. And she's like, but even, right, my bread is for the children. You know what I mean? And she's like, but even the dogs eat the crumbs, right, that fall from the table, right? And so he's like, oh my goodness. So he works one for her. But just understand his level of frustration, if you have a grasp of the story, is like, does she realize what a stumbling block her people were to the children of Israel? I mean, it's not like they were ever in full conjunction at any time, but does she realize how much of a stumbling block her people were? The same type of wanton madness that was being engaged in, or that the Most High God is telling the people not to engage in, is what they went and engaged in, on top of all the murder, okay? On top of all the uneven weights and balances for the scales, right? people cheating one another. Right. So when you look at the situation, there were so many things that took place where they went wrong. And I'm trying to show the people that there is it's called ordinances, injunctions, statutes, commandments, laws. I mean, what more do people want as far as a logical explanation? It doesn't get any more logical than that. I don't have to contend that all the systems of the world got their everything from the scripture. I know it. But because they halfway and sideways, backwards, upside down, and inside out serve the Most High God, this is why it's all messed up like this, the whole situation. And that's no lie, because you have certain things that are based on an ideal that you have to maintain the ideal at every piece of the scope. Otherwise, there's going to be chinks in the armor. And once those weaknesses are exposed, they're exposed forever. They're never, you can't ever fix them. And what I'm trying to say is that the Most High God is like, if the people sin more than they follow my statutes and ordinances, they're going to be in trouble. And what I'm trying to say kindly is that the Israelites sinned more than they followed the statutes and ordinances. And you can contend to what types of sin they were engaged in. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but it doesn't change the scope and the understanding of what it is that we all know took place. All right. These are a group of people who were chosen by the Most High God to do what? Worship him. Because of what? Because there was deity worship on the earth, and the creator of all things. Understand this. This is the part that most people really have not wrapped their minds around with the scripture. The scripture is based on the fact that the creator of all things was not being given credit as the creator of all things. So he has to choose a specific person who is going to be capable from their loins to produce a nation or nations, okay? But a particular nation of people who would be pretty much his emissaries on earth, if you will, for a want and a desire of a much better term, something holier than that. But the people were supposed to be a holy nation, and the priesthood was supposed to be royal. And we have this fall off. I mean, I don't know if people understand when you read the first 5 books, okay, and then you get into Joshua, and then you get into the Judges, and then you get into the books of the Kings, or First Samuel in the King James version, right? And then you get into the book of the Kings there. When you start to read these stories, you realize if you put everything together, there is never a moment where the people actually are even half good with the Most High God. Okay? Because they're under constant siege at all times. There's only a few times where they have rest round about. And this is well after the fact, right? That they've already been sinning and doing things that they're not supposed to do. Before I head out, it says that a man that lays with a man is an abomination. Let's go ahead and speak to something real quick. In the book of the Judges, there's an instance, there's a civil war, and the tribe of Benjamin is totally obliterated. And there's only so many men left. Now, the tribes of Israel make a mindful decision that that those men can never marry our daughters ever. So they go and get the daughters of the Philistines and they marry them in, right? They kidnap or take the women by force, right? And they make them live with these men. Now people are like, that's misogynistic. And look, I didn't do it. I'm just relaying what I read. And then, so now you have a group of people who, for want of a better term, though the Benjamites already, I'm going to contend, have an issue with that part of the ordinance, they added to their genetic structure. a greater chance for them to fall out of joint. Because if Kam or Ham is the first person that I know for sure commits an act of what we consider homosexual activity, an abominable act against his own father, by the way, for anyone of his bloodline, I have to contend that they have the genetic structure, or they have within them the genome to commit this abomination far easier than a child of Sem or Japheth. That's just a perception. So if this is what I perceive going down the line, the Benjamite clan would be people today, right? Who, whether they're African American here or whatever they're considered wherever, I contend that if they have a certain phenotype, a certain physical feature, no matter how dark or how light they are, if they have a certain feature to them, and they live a certain way, and they haven't been exposed to a certain level of wickedness, and they are just wicked all out, I contend that it's a genetic thing. You see what I'm saying? And I can't even speak on all the things that I know about because people haven't taken the time to learn themselves. You know, it is indicative that people do, you know what I'm saying? Well, it's indicative that they don't do it because I can see it. You know what I'm saying? I can see, I can tell just by how people speak and by what they understand that they're really, for the most part, very out of touch. You know, I might sound like I'm crazy to people, but I'm very in touch with what's real. You see, it told, as a matter of class, not to eat blood. Now, once again, for anybody who thinks that the Bible was written by the white man, I dare them to go drink a glass of something that they ain't got no business drinking. It ain't even got to be blood. Go drink something you ain't supposed to drink, and let's see what happens. Right. See, this is what people don't understand. Folks have gotten sick. There's salmonella outbreaks right now in several different states. Follow me. That's normally from undercooked chicken. Most time. You can get it from pork too. The thing is this. I mean, you can get it from a lot of different meats, but those are the two that I know that salmonella comes in, like ready to go. So let's assume that it's chicken, right? And it's slightly undercooked. Yo, once again, I mean, if you getting sick is not you bearing your sin, I don't know what is. That's you bearing your iniquity. Right. So you eat this unclean animal, right? You don't wash yourself, you don't clean yourself, or you eat whatever, this animal that died by us. You see what I'm saying? You don't wash off any of the germs and the whatever it had. Now you may get sick. It's not just about getting rid of the evidence, but that's part of it. Is getting rid of the proof is what is evident that I have done. I need to get rid of that. Come on. See, they think I'm telling people to break the law. I didn't tell them to break the law. Not once did I say that. I'm not even trying to circumvent the law, but I'm trying to get them to understand that the Most High God does not want you to look guilty. So you get caught doing something that you're not supposed to do. Do people not look at you differently after that? Of course they do. First off, that's their God-given right to see you however they want to see you before that. But if you do something that gives them a reason to formulate a thought about you, how long until they don't think that way about you? And see, that's not covered there. Right, but that's a part of everyday life. The fact that people will believe that just because it's written in a book that they say was written this many thousand years ago. Okay, so if it was written that long ago and it's still relevant, why are y'all trying to deny its credibility? Right. People still engage in everything that we just read today. People still engage in it. People still sleep with their fathers and their mothers and their brothers and their sisters and their aunties and their uncles. okay, their nieces and their nephews, their sisters-in-law, their brothers-in-laws, okay, their grandbabies, right on. I put an asterisk by cousins because that's the only group of people not mentioned. If you actually read that, that's the only personal relation that you don't have enough near kindred to that they don't. But it's like when you've made enough people, why would you even be talking to your once again, you're all going to be related because you all come from a certain people. But why would you go out your way to talk to your cousin if there's hundreds of thousands of you, millions of you? That's right. Once again, a matter of class. But all y'all are related, so you're only going to get so unrelated. Word? It's basic. It's basic. It's not hard to understand. It's not even it. It's so it's so simple that we must appreciate it. People thought that I was, being silly when I was talking about the seed of copulation, but that's actually a very serious thing. Um, um, when people have children, right, and they get a woman pregnant, I could only imagine the complications that could take place if this man has tainted seed. Just saying. If he can even get someone pregnant, but if they can, right on, then I mean, okay, follow me. Right. It's things like that. And then let's just speak to the fact that how a person would have a disease like gonorrhea, right? And then if we get into the matter of class, it speaks on people who sleep with the same gender, right on. And then it also speaks on people who what's the moment? What's the one I'm looking for? Who sleep with animals. You know what I'm saying? Give me one moment. How you doing? Well, if that's your serious problem, you clearly just don't. I mean, clearly, if it comes out of your body and it's something like that, that's unclean, isn't it? So would just be unclean, right? You see what I'm saying? Whether it's a sin, is it tasteful? No. See, I like when people like you come around and say stuff like this, right? Because I know that YouTube sent you here, right on. You didn't just find this stream randomly. I know for a fact. But I love when they send them around because it's people like you, and you got a name called Helmet of Salvation. So I know that YouTube went out of their way to make that up. Oh, but my hat goes off to them because they don't do it to anybody else but me. I can't help. I can't help that I'm right. I can't help it. I can't help that if you actually picked up that book, Helmet of Salvation, and read out loud what I read out loud, if you could even do that and keep your place and then break it down and then make sure that you don't lose your spot nor lose your train of thought, right? If you could do that and manage that, then you'd be on the level. See, most people think what I'm doing is so easy. That's why I don't mind people like you coming around and trying to give me a hard time because I know that you don't know very much. You see what I'm saying? I know for you to ask that question, right? For you to not even understand that once again, as a matter of class. So do you think that's classy? Helmet of Salvation, you think that would be a classy move? Right, since we're talking about class, come on now. Oh, here we go. Here you go. Listen, y'all. I need one of my real people to go look for this person's channel, right? And then see how many matter of fact, I'm gonna do it myself real quick. Let me just go look at your channel real fast. Cause I know for a fact you ain't nobody. It'd be like that though. People like you just fake. But I need my people to go ahead and go look into Helmet of Salvation. Let's see how many subscribers. Right on, because this isn't a person with 100,000 subs. This probably they got like 2 or 3 or something like that. It's a shadow one. But I once again, for y'all to see now, listen. This person just said some nonsense, right, about how many times that they think that Jesus masturbated. I'm not even going to post it up. They're so stupid that once again, they don't understand nothing. Right on. They think that by coming here and saying stuff like that, they prove the point. You see what I'm saying? They prove the point of everything that I say. By them even coming here, they prove the point that they have. Once again, I can guarantee you this person will never show their face. You feel me? They're a coward. You see what I'm talking about? And this is why I make it a point to read out loud and to show y'all everything. I know that. I know that. I know that. You're being watched too. The Most High God is watching everybody, smart one. You must not know, huh? The Most High God is watching all of this. But what should intrigue my people the most is that how you came out of nowhere and virtually nobody knows about me. See, this is why it's important as a matter of class. And I just like how you came here and tried to ask questions, but really everything you're asking, like the first question that you asked, as stupid as you think it is, right? People pass gas. Silly, weird people like you like to smell your own. I guess you like to smell yourself. But I'm pretty sure just throwing it out there, right? That if any of those tiny little particles that could be from fecal matter got on your hand, right? That would make your hand unclean. Therefore, making you unclean by putting it so close to your face. It's just a matter of class. I wouldn't know anything about the Messiah. I didn't live with him. So for you to ask a question like that is totally absurd. And then to tell me that I'm being watched while you're still here, of course, you're watching me. I mean, are you mentally ill? You know, and once again, do you even understand the scripture when it says what it says about like not eating blood? Huh? Do you get that? That's a matter of class. It's not only, oh, so that way you don't get sick. No, it's just right. People who have class don't eat blood. But there's an instance later on in the scripture where the people sin a great sin because of this. But if you knew the story, you would know that. I'm not going to tell you what that story is. You just have to know it. One day, people like you will get to ask all these questions that you have to someone who doesn't have no answers for you. They just got all action. Right on. You're asking, but you're asking the right guy because I can't do nothing to you. I don't even know who you are. I don't even care who you are. But once again, I enjoy the fact that you came here and validate what it is that I do. Now, go and tell YouTube or whoever it is that's watching that this is, once again, this is another session that I know there's a lot of people on YouTube who kiss their little dogs on the faces and stuff like that and make me question what they're really doing with these animals. Come on. You probably one of them, having connection with the animals, copulating with them. You don't have to be paid. You don't have to be paid. You don't have to be paid. Once again, you don't have to be paid by anybody. You feel me? To be on the payroll. Stupid. Stupid. But anyway, since you're a stooge and you don't know you're a stooge, right? That's the thing about it, dog. That's what makes it sad because you lack class. You don't need, that's what I'm saying, but you don't even have any class. You know what I'm saying? Sent here by someone sent here by someone close to you. No. What you were sent here was to do, once again, by YouTube, to come here and to try to be a distraction and a disruption. But I just want people to see this later. This is why I don't, you know what I'm saying? I need for most of the messages that you have to say that are not too out the world to be seen by the people. I need them to see this interaction. So that way for my people who survive a whole hour and 49 minutes of the video can see exactly how absurd the system is when you talk about something that actually has edification to how you're supposed to conduct yourself. See, you lack that basic skill right there. You have poor judgment. You see what I'm saying? And you're probably a person who realistically, you probably just don't know very much about anything overall. So it's not a big deal to have someone like you around because I think I think I think I think what you realize or what you just don't realize is what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, you're being taught class right now. I'm teaching you class, whether you understand that or not. You're being taught right on how to act and conduct yourself. You don't think that people ask Moses foolish questions? You don't think that people ask Aaron foolish questions? The priest foolish questions about why they had to do certain parts of the law? I'm pretty sure there was people just like you, stupid people just like you back then. Right on? So it's not like what you're doing is something that would have never taken place in a serious setting, you see. But because you're not able to actually have hands put on you, that's why you're doing what you're doing, you know. And it doesn't matter who she, they, it, ant, bug, dog, cat, bat, rat, bird. I don't care who sent you. Okay, check this out. Learn something, dog, while you're here. I'm trying to teach you about the scripture so that way if it ever comes across you in your life, you can use the information and it might actually be something that's vital that saves your life. Like, did you know that not eating fat is a big thing? It's not only a health thing, but once again, this is written in a book that was thousands and thousands of years ago. So we have to really appreciate the fact that, I mean, unless you believe that there were egghead scientists running around, big dog, there weren't. So once again, how could you get the good sense and the knowledge to do something like that, right? Where would that come from? And I think a lot of the time, because you've probably never actually had the time to actually think about what I'm asking you. You see what I'm saying? You know, like these are like I'm asking you legit questions, and you're probably really pondering the information in your mind. Like, damn, I never really actually looked at it like that. Even though you're trying to think of a way to still be disruptive, but really there's a part of you that's legitimately interested. What you should do is drop all vested interest that you had for someone else and get your own interest. Right on? You should be here just to listen to me in general, dog. So that way you can get some stuff. Once again, you don't have to apply anything I say. But if you can use something that I'm saying and it's applicable to you, why not? How do you lose like that? And see, that's the problem with this YouTube apparatus is that it encourages folks like yourself to come around and to do things that you're not supposed to. But what you've done is allowed for me to have a healthy dialogue. You see what I'm saying? So do you feel like you've accomplished what you wanted to accomplish? Because as a matter of class, I've stayed on point. Everything that I wanted to cover, I talked about. You know, you didn't really mess up the Bible story. You know what I mean? Like you came way after the fact, dog. It's really all good, you know, and that's where I'm at. So if there's nothing else that you really don't want to know, or you don't, you know, if you have no other questions, I'm about to roll out here in the next couple minutes after telling my people this. This is why you practice class, okay? So that way, come the moment when somebody does something that they're not supposed to do, you can do the right thing at all times. You see, and it's not about you doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. It's about you doing the right thing at the right time. Come on. You see, because the wrong thing at the wrong time is making yourself unclean. Right on? But the right thing at the right time is just being obedient to the laws and maintaining yourself within those laws, the ordinance and those injunctions, those commandments. You see what I'm saying? If you keep the statutes of the Most High God, it's hard for you to get sick. It's hard for you to be unhealthy. It's hard for you to be poor. A lot of things that are true to life problems and issues are very difficult to actually fall upon you if you keep the ordinances, because these ordinances apply to different things that I could show to people throughout life right now. And so, you know, to have to tell people, you know, that, hey, the land that you just came out of was full of miscreants whose way of life was is totally against living a long time, and it's just totally against life, right? And decency, right? A matter of class. And the land that you're going into, that I'm about to kick everybody up out of, these individuals have the same issues. You see what I'm saying? So, I'm just trying to say to y'all, like, whether people think I have class or not, I have more class than a lot of people. Wearing a suit does not give you class. Drinking expensive cognac does not give you class. Driving an expensive car does not give you class. Living in an expensive house does not give you class. Okay? All right? Knowing what the finer things in life doesn't actually give you class. Being cultured, it isn't classy all the time. See, that's what I'm saying, is like there's a level of understanding that one must surrender themselves to. They must be in search of it. And because I'm constantly in search of a more thorough, absolute understanding of what it is that I've heard, I don't contend with what it is that I don't know so much as it is trying to give a space for what I don't know, so that way I can come back to it and to put it in a level, in a place where my mind can finally figure it out. And if I never figure it out, then I tell myself I'm not meant to know this. But if I'm not meant to know this, I get as close as I can to knowing as much as I can while I still don't know that thing. It's an important, it's crucial, it's vital that you take the time to just read the story. Once again, we started at the Genesis, chapter 1, verse 1, and we stopped today at Leviticus chapter 19, I want to say. We read chapter 15, 16, 17, and 18. So we got 4 chapters out the way. And it's just a matter of class. This if you can't respect what class is, and you can look it up, I'm not going to tell. I think everybody has their own image of what the word really means. You know what I'm saying? But it truly is like a sense of how you carry yourself. Yep. It's crazy. What's up, family? Oh, don't worry. Whiskey Day is and the Bible don't tell you that you can't drink. You know what I'm saying? It just tells you not to drink too much and to not bring that with you while you go into pre-adventure. You know what I'm saying? So Whiskey Day is all good, bro. You know what I mean? Enjoy yourself. That's a part of life that you're supposed to do. But when we was talking about, brother, I don't know that. They say that, but let me go ahead and contend something to you that I would contend to anybody, Leonard Judah. If Noah was a drunk, you do realize this man was on a boat for a year, right? He was on a boat for a whole year, right? He had to get off. Now listen, I don't know how fast any vineyard you've ever seen grow, but he had to grow the grapes, stop, collect the grapes, stop, crush them all down, separate the juice from the actual fermented alcohol, stop, let it ferment and get to a level that he thought was appropriate. Stop. You think he did that overnight? Come on. There is no indication, brother. There is no scripture. There is nothing that tells us that Noah was a drunk. But where is this? But once again, though, family. Okay, so give me some scripture that proves that, though, Leonard Judah. Because when you say that, you're lying on Noah, bro. I'm telling you right now that you're lying on Noah. That's a lie. That's not true. That's not true. What you just said is a complete falsity. It's a farce. Because you didn't even answer what I said. Is, do you think a vineyard grows overnight? Grapes. Does anything grow overnight? Because when you guys say that, you really take away from his genius. You know what I'm saying? People who call him a drunk, ain't none of them ever built no fucking ark. They ain't even built a boat. let alone a full-blown submarine. So when they insult the man, right, by calling him a drunkard, right, and they diminish his character as a man, there's nothing funny about it. Right. That's the truth, family. That's a matter of class. Because how would you feel if all the life that's living right now, including the things that crawled up from out of the middle of the planet, are only here because you built the ark? Right. I mean, at some level, he deserves way more credit than he deserves criticism. You know, because that's a critical thing to say, that the man was a drunk. Think about that for a moment. Think about that. What drunks do you know build stuff all day? It's that is diametrically opposed to his genius. Noah was a genius, an intellectual genius. He was a genius to have been able to take the instructions from the Most High God. He's a genius to have been able to work side by side to a certain degree with the angels when the ark was being built, because the angels did help him build it. Right. It's one of those things where if you don't appreciate his genius and you just call him a drunk, we're here because of him. I'm able to look at this screen on this so-called laptop because of that same drunken sailor. So I have to have a level of, my appreciation for Noah is just greater than that. You know, and nobody has to agree with me, but that's the truth. Bro, he got drunk. Okay, but here's my thing though. If you hadn't drank in a year, how much liquor, how much you haven't drinking in over a year? You stop drinking today and don't drink for a whole year, bro. And then you take a drink. You're telling me that you're not going to get a little toasted? I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to get a little toasted a whole year sober, bro. Even if he drank before. I never said that Noah never had a drink in his life. I'm just saying that the idea that he was a drunkard is just, it just goes against his ability to be able to build an ark. In the book of Enoch, never brings up this man, never, not once does the book of Enoch bring up Noah drinking. It brings up how he looks. It tells us how the things went down when he met the angel. But the book of Enoch doesn't even talk about the man drinking. The one time that we know that he drank some wine was after the flood. That's the only time you know he drank some wine. And because of that one instance, he's a drunk. It didn't, but we don't know if Abraham and all those dudes were drunks and alcoholics. Just because it doesn't tell us that they weren't, just because it doesn't say that they were, doesn't mean that they didn't have that issue with putting the back too much juice. And that's for any character in the scripture, you know, because in order to do the law of the Nazarite, we're probably about, I don't know, 20 or 30 chapters away from that, because that's in the book of Numbers. We got like 9 more chapters left for the book of Leviticus, right? And then we're into the book of Numbers. And then in the book of Numbers, the law of the Nazarite, right? One of those laws is a law of separation. And during that time, you don't drink any strong drink, no wine, no vinegar. You don't touch dead bodies. You don't even eat raisins. You grow your hair out, obviously, all that stuff, right? You let all your stuff grow. Nothing unclean, right? So, I mean, but that's the law of the Nazarite. And that's people actually keeping to that. Now, having said that, people try to say that the Messiah was an alcoholic and was a wine bibber. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But once again, to not first talk about Noah's genius, even if that's how you feel, to not talk about his genius first is a discredit to Noah. Total discredit to the man. And I won't lie on Daddy Noah, because white people told me that he was a drunk. And I never actually perceived that myself in my own mind. I never ever perceived that never perceived that in my own mind. That's what I was told as a child. I know for a fact somebody told you that as a child, and you just been believing that your whole life. But if you actually read the scripture, nothing is going to edify. Nothing gives edification to that. Nothing. And that's what I'm saying, bro. Like this is a matter of class for us. How we see our ancestors. You know what I'm saying? We should hold them in higher esteem than that. When people claim to be an Israelite, it doesn't just stop at Abraham. It's everybody before him in the story that means and matters just as much, if not more than him. And it's just being able to appreciate all of their servitude. Because let's say it like this. Abraham has a wife who, up until she was 90 years old, couldn't have children. Now, a lot of people say this, that, and the other. I contend, based on what I believe, how women conduct themselves now, I think, you know what I'm saying? No, for real. I'm serious. I do contend that Sarah was a drunk or an alcoholic. Right on? Most of the women back in those days were drunks. You're saying stop it, but this is serious. Because, okay, so if you're a father, right, and you drink your whiskey, right, but you provide and you take care, the last thing you're going to accept somebody calling you, bro, is an alcoholic or a drunk, bro. I'll be damned. This man is dead. He can't defend himself, so I have to defend him for him. Because I'm pretty sure if he was here, like me saying, like, well, you didn't build the ark. You know what I'm saying? Right. But that doesn't say it doesn't say that Noah was a drunkard. It say he became drunk. I don't even have to read it. Right on? I know where it said. It says he became drunk. Right. He became drunk. You know how you get drunk? That means drinking. Right. And then he passed out, bro. It wasn't like Noah went on a drunken rampage doing crazy stuff. No, he drank and he fell out. And then his son went and violated him. Now his son's violation of Noah, right? You don't seem to point that out, but you point out how Noah was a drunk. And what Kam did to his father is actually a part of the lesson in the matter of class, because one is not supposed to uncover the nakedness of their father. But that ordinance comes directly from what Kam did to Noah. And see, because I can appreciate the gravitas of what took place in that instance, I know for a fact when I read an ordinance that tells me not to uncover my father's nakedness, it doesn't mean to not see my father's naked body. It means to not try to have sex with my father. Just my personal opinion. So it wouldn't go through this just watching. People see people naked all the time. How would you know somebody's circumcised or not? Right? I'm outside of the fact that they would have been born in your nation. So everybody born of us is all circumcised. If they're not us, the chances of them being circumcised is slim to none. Unless they had contact with Abraham before or had contact with somebody who's had contact with our people. But let me just go ahead and break something down to y'all. If Moses, a son of an elder tribesman, being that he's from one of the elder tribes. It's Reuben, Simeon, Levi. He's from the third oldest brother. So Moses didn't circumcise his two children. And yeah, Kam's a weirdo, bro. But that's what I'm saying, though. Wicked, weird, evil, all that stuff. He's all that. But that's the thing, though, big brother, is in that moment, he committed an act that until Moses was born, right? And until Moses put it down on paper to tell people not to do those types of things, I'm not saying that people didn't know not to do that, but until Moses put it down in writing, like, yo, that doesn't fly anymore, I can contend that people were doing things like that, bro. It's sick, man. It's sick. It's sick. People still, bro, there's still people who are having relations with their children to this day. It hasn't stopped. All the things we read about people having relations with animals, it hasn't stopped. People having relations with the same gender, it hasn't stopped. So when people try to say that the Bible's old and outdated, I'm like, well, everything that it's talking about was happening thousands of years ago and it's still happening now. So we have to give credence to it because it's teaching us a matter of class. Nobody thinks a person is classy who sleeps with animals. There's no way. There's no way. But I bet you there's some famous rich athlete people, entertainer people who probably do that stuff on a regular, outside of poor people who can engage in that. So when we just look at the seriousness of maintaining your class, right, on your uprightness, it matters. It does matter. None of it does. But bro, none of that stuff translates well. The Septuagint, right, which is the first translation, right, of all of them. You know what I'm saying? It's the first time they took the Tanakh or the Pentateuch or the Torah, however you relay it, right? And they said, and so the Greeks were the first people to actually copy the stuff. Why that's so important, though, bro? They had no reason to. I want you to think about that. Think about the gravity of that, bro. They've had no reason to translate. If the Bible was told so totally fake, why would you make it in every single language? Think about that for a second, man. They was making it in every language a long time ago. They didn't just start doing this, and this is why the Crusades happened, because you had books that had information that the church didn't want out at that time because it was contradictory to what they were trying to promote. You see, the New Testimony had become by and large the regular Sunday service, you know, by, I don't know, I won't say like the mid Crusades, but like the later Crusades, you know what I mean? A certain part of the early Crusades, you could argue that, but getting into the later Crusades, this is where the Jesus guy stuff really starts to really percolate. And so sometimes, you know, when we're looking at the translations, brother, we just have to remember that the translation we're reading is a translation of a translation. Come on, you see what I'm saying? So we're not even actually reading a translation, because we would have to speak Greek, and read and write old school Greek to really see it, to see how different it is from the Greek to the English, as opposed to just seeing from the Greek to the actual Hebrew. Because once again, if I'm reading a translation of a translation, it's not that I have to take their word at it, but it's in the Dead Sea Scrolls. I'll say it like this. The Dead Sea Scrolls pretty much bonify everything that we've been reading, though. It's all of the Old Testimony stuff, right on. Nothing in the New Testimony can I actually vindicate that it verifies, but I can vindicate that there's verification of the Old Testimony in the Dead Sea Scrolls. And having said that, because it's so well documented there, the translation and transliteration of the Dead Sea Scrolls still line up and lock up to a degree, to a very good degree, though, of what it is that we know as our modern translation. So I'm saying whatever they're wrong about, whether it be on purpose or an accident, I have to charge that to the fact that, number one, I'm not doing any translating or transliterating, right? And then number two, there's a disconnect in the time and the histories, you know. So we just have to appreciate that those people who accomplished that feat when they accomplished it, they may have felt the same way that we're saying right now. They may have been like, man, I don't know about this translation because it's watered down. They may have felt that thousands of years ago. And they may have been like, but this is the closest we can get because we don't have any words that represent or signify this action or this word to this degree, you know. But yeah, brother, man, it's been a blast for me. But I'm about to get off here in a second, and I don't know. I'm gonna finish taking this laptop apart. I got to take off the CD-ROM and a couple of little pieces, and then I'll be able to access my fan. But I got to get to that. I got to get to trying to make sure that I keep at where I've been keeping at. But yeah, as a matter of class, this has been very fun for me. People might not like this one very much. I think it's a very adult themed spiritual gumbo. Oh, straight up, bro. Likewise, fam. Straight up. But man, I'm just saying, bro. For our own mind, bro, our own peace of mind, we can't even we can only worry about what we know is righteous. We know that there's a lot of people in the hospital right now, right? I have always contended and will continue to contend is because they eat and consume unclean animals. There's no proof to this, but I do believe that the apocalypse shopping has actually upticked the so-called surges because people went and bought a whole bunch of unclean food and then gorged on it. And their body hasn't been engaged in the same activities that it would normally be engaged in. So therefore, these toxins have built up and you have people getting sick. It's not corona. It's just, poor nutrition. And that's unfortunate. You know what I mean? That's a truly unfortunate thing that of all the things they think it could be, right? Oh, you blocked him? You blocked him? No wonder, man. No wonder because I didn't block him. You know what I'm saying? I didn't block him. I just thought that he just clammed up and just was like, you know what? I'm going to try to learn a lesson today. I'm going to try to learn something. But it's all good, bro. You feel me? I appreciate that, man, because I didn't really think that dude was trolling so much as it is that he was really sent here by YouTube. He says he's here for some chick, whatever. The chick might be on YouTube. Can you dig it? It's all the same to me. Somebody from this atmosphere, right? I don't know, man. But bro, like, what would bring you to my channel though? Like, that's the thing though, fam. I don't know what would bring them to my channel. You know what I mean? It's not like they broadcast these live streams where you can actually see, who's all up all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes random live streams come up on my page, but not normally. So I just really feel like, someone who has a vested interest in trying to make me look bad. I think I really do believe cuz was trying to get me out of my character and off my square. And he didn't realize, like, the harder he was trying, the more dug in I got to my position of I'm not even going to show this dude no kind of anger. I'm just going to speak to them a certain way, and just let them know, like, I'm a little frustrated that you have a lack of class right now, but I'm more or less happy that he came around. You feel me? I was happy. I told him, I was like, dude, I'm glad you came by so people could see that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't know, bro. I wouldn't know, pimp. But the fact that they would even be worried about what I'm saying, nothing. I'm talking about the Bible, bro. Right on? I mean, and sure, people didn't like my get rid of the evidence thing. They're not going to like that. I contend that was what they were pretty much being told in some of these instances. Like, yo, don't leave the proof of what you've done. Because not only do you not get rid of the evidence now, but now you're unclean, right? And now there could be a set of things that come upon you. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear you have to get rid of the proof of what took place. Otherwise, you can be held to that. Um, there is no way out of doing something abominable. That's what I'm saying, bro. I wouldn't know, family. I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even know, bro. Like so okay, I'm lying to you. I would know. Like a year and a half ago, they used to come around way more than that. They used to come around all the time. But I was doing different stuff. I wasn't really dealing with the scripture like that all the time. And now that I've really isolated most of my energy to the scripture, most days when I do these, like I'm pretty sure the next time I do one, because I'm gonna try to knock down the last 9 chapters. So I'm gonna have to read like 14 or 15 chapters ahead. I read enough to stay ahead so that way I can try to know where the story's at. Because I don't remember every little thing, and for people to think that I just remember every little thing about the Bible, I'm like, I don't. The story, I have the story well embedded, and the story means a lot to me, and that's what I've been trying to impart to my brothers and sisters, that the story mean as much to them as what's written down on that page, what it represents, you know, uh, humble man, whoever that guy was, came in here and said, that the Most High God was the main character of the Bible, and I'm like, humble man said that the God is the main character, and I'm just thinking like, the Most High. I'm like, as much as I want to agree with that, I'm like, I don't agree with that. I'm like, the true main characters are the people that never got right and are right now are strangers in a stranger land. You see what I'm saying? And I try to be nice to them, bro. I do. But, because the Most High God is not mentioned in the New Testimony is a fallacy. Not because because the Most High, worshiping God, is still the focal point of the New Testimony. So I don't think the argument or to contend if the Most High God is the main character is, I'm not going to say that it's not valid. I just don't know where that stands, because the Most High God did well. He upheld his end of the deal. He turned a man into a nation. He turned that nation that was the least in people, and we could even argue were just regular sized people with with the few freaks and natures here and there, right? And they were the smallest nation, the smallest people, and he makes them the greatest, right? And I think that story is overlooked, it's overshadowed, right? Because like I said, people pick up the Bible, bro. And I'm not sure if he was here earlier, but when I said that, I said people pick up the Bible, read one verse, and think they got and they swear they got a hold on the whole thing. I got it from here. I don't need nobody else. I don't need nothing else. And I'll just be like, that's all I can do is just take a deep breath, because that what else? What other options do we really have other than to allow people like that to express themselves, and to hope that while they're expressing themselves, they at least have a moment of clarity, where either they realize the way I've expressed myself is either immature, right, unclassy. You see what I'm saying? It lacks the feel that I want people to take me serious right now. That guy said some nonsense about passing gas on his hand, right? And I sat there and I thought about it, and I was like, as mad as I want to be, let me just go ahead and answer that to the best of my ability, because it's better that I try to at least act like this person's not doing what I know they're doing. So that way, when I set them up for the admonishment, because I admonished them for coming here and for doing that, and I told them, if you're here, you should be here to take a lesson or a information from yours truly. You know what I'm saying? From one Demetrius Jones, and move forward with your life. You know what I'm saying, brother? It became, once again, me just trying to focus on maintaining class. And because that's the idea of today, right? That's where I'm at. And I really am appreciative the title of the video, because it was just supposed to be called a matter of class, you know, but to call it as a matter of class, like as a matter of fact, right? Because that's what it is. It's a matter of class, and we are at a time and a period where they want us to put on over our faces a device that mitigates breathing, that actually doesn't exhibit class, but being unwilling, okay, to not wear one, okay, in certain places, it's even less classy. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't make you classy to have one on, but but you'll have less class to be somewhere where there's a lot of people where you should probably have one on. You see what I'm saying? It's things like that. And just trying to get folks to realize that doing what you're supposed to do isn't always what class is. Once again, it's making the decision to make a concerted effort, okay, to do what you must do because you don't have to do it. Can you dig that? Word? Because you don't have to wear a mask. So you're not classy per se to wear the mask. It just makes you, once again, you have less class if you're in a store full of people and you're acting up and causing a scene because you don't want to put a piece of fabric over your face. See, this guy right here, right? Who knows who this dude is? Who knows who this dude is, right? It's just bruh. These guys, man. These guys, bro. Don't delete them, family. Because if we delete them, then the people won't believe it, man. You see what I'm saying? They don't believe that there's a certain level of etiquette that I can maintain. And I'm about to really get up out of here. It's been 2.5 hours. You know, I've been going in. But it's just that's how it is, bro. Choosing to do what you don't have to do and doing it is a blessing, you know, and that makes you classy. You know, for example, you have class when you're a man and the woman doesn't ask you for anything, right? Let's say you have a children together, right? You have class when she says, hey, you know what? I don't need nothing from you. I don't even want nothing from you. Your class kicks in when you go and get stuff for her that she didn't ask for that you know that she needs. Right on? That's classy. Now, whether or not she takes it and has enough class to get over her pride, how she feels about you, that's another thing. But for you to go and make the concerted effort, come on, to make that conscious effort to do that, that's classy because you don't have to. Word? Now, you doing it doesn't, once again, you doing what you should do doesn't make you a super classy person. For example, if the agreement is that you're going to take care of the child and that you're going to be together, you don't deserve a pat on the back, okay, for taking care of someone that you already agreed that you want to be in their life. And I'm not saying that you deserve a pat on the back for taking care of someone whose life you didn't want to be in. I'm saying for you to make the effort to know that I don't have to do this. It's the effort. It's not the action. Understand me? It's not the fact that you went and bought the diapers. It's the idea that that you know to do this is the right thing. See, that's when we can separate the thought from the action. Okay, then we're going to get somewhere with people. And that's what I've been trying to show everybody is that you know that the thought from action in the scripture, it is clearly separated and it's defined as to how we're supposed to look at a given situation. You know, it didn't ask you what you thought about the laws, right on? It doesn't. The Most High God is like, he's never like, ask the children of Israel if they want to follow these ordinances. That's never a question asked. If they want to be my people and they want me to be, right, their God, they have to do what I want them to do. We have to do what he wants us to do to the best of our ability right now while we still have a chance. You see what I'm saying? That's class. Can you dig it? So whether or not you get reparated for the hardcore indentured servitude of your ancestors, whether we get reparated for all the things that our people have done for this earth, whether we get reparated just because of the fact that we've been under constant siege since day one. Maintain your class. Did you hear me? Maintain your class, your uprightness, your ability to do the right thing even though you don't have to. Maintain that. That's a crucial thing. It will keep you from negative situations. I have a hard time believing that people who are, for the most part, vegan or vegetarian and don't eat that much meat, I have a hard time believing that they are sick and in the hospital. I have a hard time believing that. But I do believe people who may consume, indulge too much in processed food or just genetically modified organisms, right? I do believe that there's a correlation between their sicknesses and what they've been putting into their bodies. You see? And I'm not saying that these people have no class. I'm saying that they lack class to put what's proper in their bodies based on what they have. So maybe not buying an expensive pair of shoes and buying groceries, right on, that are more substantial for you. That type of thing. Maybe not buying a sack of weed and buying the beer and going to go buy some lettuce and carrots and tomatoes, right? You see what I'm saying? Actually making your own meals and stuff like that. However, my people, before I get ready to roll out, I wanted everyone to see that we have maintained our class this entire time. We have not allowed for anyone to distract us from what it is that we're talking about, even if we've had to veer off a little bit and to give them what it is. Come on. Hey, look, bro, come on, man. Bro, come on, bro. It don't get no realer, bro. It don't get no realer, man. I'm glad that they come and do it to me. And they try to do it to the other guys, but they get shut down way more. You know, my people, my real people, I salute you. And as always, may tomorrow be better than yesterday. Can you dig that? And may this week be better than the last. Put the Most High God first. My people, maintain your class at all times. Spiritual Gumbo, out.